Warning: the following episode contains elements of horror that may be unsuitable for listeners under the age of 13. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, we've been expecting you. I'm Brianna, and welcome to Beyond the Bazaar's 13 Nights of Frights. From October 19th through October 31st, Halloween night, we will be sharing with you some of our favorite hand-picked urban legends, lore, stories, and more that we love to talk about during this special time of year. So take a seat, make yourself comfortable for these 13 nights of terror. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Bazaar, our 13 Nights of Frights. I'm Brianna, and yesterday we shared with you guys a ritual known as the Halloween summoning ritual. We really enjoyed sharing that with you guys, and we hope you guys loved hearing it. And once again, if you guys happen to try it this coming Saturday on Halloween, please let us know how it goes for you guys. As I said, we're not going to be trying it here, but we'll love to hear you guys' experiences. So, by all means, don't be shy. Let us know. Instagram, website, Facebook. Just, if you try, we're interested. So, on tonight's episode, we're going to talk about something that may not be too creepy, but it's worth mentioning because it does have deep ties to Halloween. And it's that of the superstition of black cats. On tonight's episode, we're going to talk about a little bit about the history of black cats, where the superstition kind of came from, and just get into the history of that and just share some of our personal thoughts on it. So like I said, it's not too creepy, but we wanted to share it with you guys anyway, since it's our 13 Nights of Fright since the last few days leading up to Halloween. So with that being said, let's get into the superstition or lore of black cats. So let's take it back to ancient Egypt. In ancient Egypt, cats were revered. Domesticated cats, including black ones, were thought to bring good luck and were seen as magical. They were fed well and dressed in jewels. See, that's where cats have the entitled attitude they have today. I say this as a cat owner. I have a very, very sassy cat. But I can see where that comes from. I'll get more into that later. The Egyptians actually worshipped a cat goddess named Bastet. She is the goddess of cats and a guardian against evil spirits and disease. So this is really cool. The first thing that popped out to me was the fact that nowadays most people view black cats as being evil or bad luck or just dark, whereas in ancient Egypt they worshipped them and they found them to be good luck and kind of ward off evil spirits and plagues and things like that. So that's really cool, and like the fact that they also worship cats. It's really cool, but like I said, also probably the reason why cats are the way they are today, super sassy. Moving on to the early Middle Ages. In the 8th century, sailors and fishermen used black cats once again as good luck symbols while sailing. Sailors would actually use cats to predict the weather. They would monitor the cat's behavior to do this. For an example, if a cat sneezes, it means rain is coming. If a cat snores, it means bad weather. And if they see the cat grooming, it means good weather is coming. I actually wonder if this is true nowadays. I'm gonna have to start looking at my monitoring my cat to see if that happens. If she sneezes or she doesn't really sneeze, but she does snore a lot. So I'm gonna have to monitor that. So in the Middle Ages, that's when things kind of went downhill for black cats, unfortunately. In Celtic mythology, she, spelled Sidh, was a black fairy with a white spot on his chest that could steal souls or shift 9 times into human form. So that must be where cats have 9 lives comes from. In the 12th century, it was thought that the devil would descend as a black cat during satanic rituals. Groups that committed heresy in the eyes of the church were accused of worshiping cats. Lonely elderly women who had cats were deemed witches. That's so sad, because if this was nowadays, almost every elderly person I know would be a witch. That is terrible. I'm sorry. And on top of all of this, Pope Innocent VIII declared that the cat was the devil's favorite animal and the idol of all witches. So as you can see, there was a lot of hysteria going on during this time. So the black cat, or just cats in general, what it seems like, went from being guardians against evil spirits and tokens of good luck and the earliest meteorologists for the sailors to being pretty much the devil's minion and companion to the witches. So which is crazy how it kind of, the switch kind of flipped there. So once again, during this time in the Middle Ages, they believed that if a black cat crossed your path in the moonlight, it was a sign of an upcoming epidemic. I don't even want to hear the word epidemic or pandemic for a long time, but that's what they believed. So I think that's where the first superstition was kind of born, whereas if a black cat crosses your path, it's bad luck. And also, back in the Middle Ages in Italy, if a black cat laid on the bed of a sick person, it meant that they would die. So when I read that, that kind of reminded me of Dr. Sleep by Stephen King, where they had the cat in the nursing home, and it would go to each person's, well, I don't think it's much of a spoiler, so I'm not going to say spoiler alert, but the cat would go to each person's bed and lay on their bed when they were about to pass, and that's how Danny's character in Dr. Sleep was able to know, okay, this patient is about to pass. And Stephen King actually, I do believe he actually said that was actually based on a true event, that cat was actually based on a real cat that would come to the bedside of those who are about to pass. So in Italy, back in the Middle Ages, they weren't exactly wrong, but I don't think it had anything to do with the cat just being a black cat. I just think animals are more in tune and they just know more along the spiritual plane than humans do. Well, some humans do. So I think that's more so what it is. I don't think it has anything to do with just the cat being a black cat. So moving past the Middle Ages to colonial America. So when the Puritans came to America and settled into Salem, the fear of black cats grew. So you already know where we're going with this, the Salem witch trials. During the infamous Salem witch trials, black cats were persecuted. Cats were persecuted. Now see, this made me so mad. I think the whole Salem witch trials was just horrible to begin with, like, killing people, just for having moles, or just for behaving a certain type of way abnormal, just for even having a thought. Like, we actually recently just shared a meme on our on our Instagram about that, but just for like having free thought, they were assumed to be witches. It was just an awful time, and it's a part of history. And like I said, I love history, but it's just some things doesn't make sense to me. I'm not gonna say some things, almost a lot of things don't make sense to me, but I digress. So the black cats were persecuted. They were burned before Lent to protect homes from fires. Now what sense that makes, don't ask me, I do not know. But these Puritans were on some other, was on a whole other level on this stuff, I swear. I'm sorry, but they were. And even the people who owned black cats were persecuted, as it was believed that they were a witch's familiar. So, pretty much how on Sabrina, the chilling adventures of Sabrina, or Sabrina the Teenage Witch, whichever one you watch, Salem is Sabrina's familiar. And for those of you who don't know what a familiar is considered, it's pretty much used to kind of protect them, but also can be used to kind of keep an eye out on things when they're not around. And the people who persecuted the owners of black cats during the colonial times, during the Puritan times, they believed that the familiars were used for spying and dark magic. And from there, they became kind of a Halloween symbol, black cats did. And they're usually depicted as riding on the back of a witch's broom. Now, all of this may have happened regarding black cats, but in present day, August 17th is Black Cat Appreciation Day in the United States. So that's good. We have a day that we can appreciate them and kind of just show a little extra love here for them. Because, and this was probably the saddest thing, other than the persecution of the cats, but the saddest thing is that during adoption events, black cats are the last to be adopted due to superstition. Now, I thought this was just such... Now, I don't want to be offensive to anyone who may have a superstition against black cats, so don't take this the wrong way, but I think it's incredibly small-minded to not want to have a cat just because you have a superstition or something over it. Because I can personally say my grandmother owned 2 black cats while I was growing up, and I grew up just fine. One was gotten at a pet store because my grandmother just bonded with my grandmother loves black cats. And another one was a stray that my grandma took in, and they were 2 of the most loving cats that she had. And now she has 2 rescue, well, one cat that she got from a pet store and another rescue that she had gotten. And she said if she could do it all over again, she would just get 2 black cats because she said they're just so well behaved, so poised, but also super loyal. So personally, I just have a personal account that they're not bad. So if you're ever at a pet store or you have an adoption event and you see a black cat there, don't be afraid. Adopt them. We have to provide our cats homes. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox. And if you want information on the different types of black cats that you can choose from, there are actually over 22 black cat breeds recognized by the Cat Fanciers Association. So you can do some research on that. Like if you see a black cat, there are different breeds of them. You want to do some research, like I said, want to adopt, just look into that. It'll be something great to kind of put all of these old superstitions to rest here. But as I had stated previously, it's interesting to see how it kind of started off as cats being worshipped and cats being used as good luck tokens to all of a sudden it turning into something completely dark. So it's like during the Middle Ages, like I said, the switch kind of flipped there, and everyone was just like, they're a witch, he's a witch, she's a witch, everyone's a witch, the cats are witches, kill them. It's just, I think it was just some type of like madness going on during that time, where I think everything at that time was just considered, anything that was outside of the norm was considered dark and evil and had to be banished or rid of. But I'm glad we're kind of hopefully moving past this time. I've been on social media and I see a lot of people adopting more black cats, and because I remember a long time ago when I would read about black cats actually still being killed to this day just because of superstition. I just think it's horrible. So to see people showing more love to black cats and having people that I personally know actually purposely going out to adopt a black cat just because it's cool. It has that tie to history, and it's also has that tie to superstition where it's like, hey, we're not going to let a superstition stop us from loving an animal or giving an animal love. Because we shouldn't let things like that happen. Even though, yes, it's creepy and cool to read about and to know about, we shouldn't let that hinder us from giving an animal love. And I'm sorry, I know I said I was going to get off my soapbox, and I am. I'm getting off of it now, stepping down. But I'm just really passionate because, like I said, I have a cat of my own. She's not a black cat, but she is a rescue. And my own personal story with her was that my cat was in foster for 4 years. Well, she was her original owner had died, and she was in foster for 4 years. Well, in SPCA, and then they started fostering her for like the last 2 years that she was there, just different families, and she would go to the pet store for the adoption events, and no one would want her because she was an older cat. At that time, she was 5, and she was declawed. Everyone wanted the kittens, nobody really wanted her. So when we went there, we said we'll take her, and they were so happy. So we got the forms and went home, filled them out, came back the next day. The people that were there with the local adoption agency, they were so happy. They said we didn't think you were going to come back, because so many people said, well, we'll come back for, and they either not come back or come back and decide to get another cat. So right when we walked in, I kid you not, they picked up my cat and held her up in the air like Simba from Lion King and said, you have a home, you have a home. And they were crying, and they said it was just such a long journey for her. And they had her all packaged up waiting for us in a box while we shopped for her the rest of her stuff. So we got her home, and it took her, I want to say, around a year to get used to us. I'm not going to say to get used to us, because she kind of bonded with us quickly, but just to get used to being at home, because she was used to being foster. So she's just like, okay, how long am I here? So eventually she got used to being there, and now we can barely get her out the house. She won't she won't go. She just likes to be at home because she just finally found her forever home, and I'm glad that she's here with us. Even though she is sassy, and like I said, she knows that in many, many past lives she was worshipped. She has to know, because she's a piece of work. And I know that some of you guys out there with cats probably know this. Like, I mean, she's super kind. She's just really sassy. She gets in her little moods. And the funniest thing is, when we first got her, they did tell us that she was sassy. And she is. Like, she gets in her moods where she just wants to stay to herself, doesn't want to be bothered, doesn't want to be doted on. She kind of likes attention on her terms. And she, see, if she was in here, she'd probably be looking at me frowning because I'm talking about her. But she kind of likes love and affection on her terms. Like, we can come up to her and try to pet her, and she'll just like walk away or turn her back on us. When we're sitting here, like, busy working, she'll come and she'll crawl on our keyboard or take her paw and put it over our phone. When we're not giving her attention, that's when she wants it. So, like I said, she is really sassy, but cats are amazing creatures, and especially black cats. Now, I've been wanting to get another cat, but my cat won't let me. She, like I said, she's sassy. She just wants to be the center of attention. So I don't see myself getting any other cats anytime soon. But in the off chance that I'm able to, it definitely will probably be a black cat. Just a simple fact, like I said, I grew up with them. I have that history there, and just the superstition that's behind it. I don't think that they're deserving of all the hate that they get. I'm not gonna get back on my soapbox, I promise. But last little bit that I want to say about black cats is that it's cool that they all kind of got connected to Halloween, even though it's the way they got connected to it was through the dark colonial period of the persecution of witches and their quote familiars unquote, all of that. It's cool that it still has a tie to it even to today, that it's is commonly associated with Halloween. And even though a little bit of history is dark, there is some light about it that is carried on this long and is still recognized today as just a universal symbol of one of the most fun times of year for so many people. And it's just nice to have that history there. And speaking of history, we will continue to share some more history with you guys on our next episode of our 13 Nights of Frights tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to get into the history of the jack-o'-lantern. So come back tomorrow for that. Until then, this has been Beyond the Bazaar's 13 Nights of Frights. And as always, stay bizarre.